Hello, hello, hi, folks. Welcome. Happy Monday. In hopes that you squeezed more out of your day than the day squeezed out of you. Welcome, welcome. Good to see you. I had a tough time connecting, so I had to restart my phone. Welcome. So I finally got reconnected. So, tonight's live, let's talk about price and value. Little team money. How are you? Welcome. Good to see you, bro. So, price and value. I wish actually Peter was here because I'm going to drop in a little note about Peter. But Peter has got Peter does these steaks on Thursdays, right? I'll give you an example. He does these steaks on Thursday. He's a big steak guy. So Team Money, tag him to this. I know he's asleep, but tag him. So he does steaks, and he's got this. If you've seen his pictures, he posts them on Thursdays, and he goes through the first cut, the middle cut, and the last cut of the steak and talks about them. But he's got this board, right? This steak board that's like hand carved, and it's got all these, just like it's got his name engraved on it, and it's just like sick, right? And so when you look at something like that, it's very special, right? It's got a price to it, right? But it also has a value to it. Now, I've often come to realize that there was a time that I thought maybe price and value are the same, but actually they are not the same, and it's actually very rare that price and value would equal. I'd argue that. So let me give you an example. Let's say you can buy something, and again, if you know me, you know this about me. Most things are very subjective. There's very little in the world that's just boom, boom, black and white. There's a lot of gray, right? So price, if I say something is expensive, to somebody else, that may not be expensive, right? So it's very relative. It's very subjective, right? So let's say what you consider the price is high on something, right? Let's say the price on an item is really high. Let's say you want to buy let's say you want to buy yourself a pen, and the pen is like $400. Let's just say, okay, and you're like, well, I mean, I'm just gonna write a couple things. I mean, it's $400. Why would I spend like $400 on a pen, right? Yeah, the three blade. Yeah, well, I don't have to worry about that anymore. So why would anybody spend $400 on a pen, right? But then you look into the pen and somebody says, well, this is not just a pen, it's the Mont Blanc pen, and somebody engraved my initials on this after I had established my business. Now imagine the value attached to that, right? All of a sudden, that $400, it just kind of gets lost, if you would, in that conversation, right? Because it's got a value. It's got more to it than the price. There's a meaning behind it, right? Somebody says, $500,000 for a car is too much. Again, that's relative, subjective. I don't understand what that means. It's too much. It's too expensive, right? But then somebody else says, you know what? That's 500,000. I worked my butt off. I paid my dues. I went through this. I helped these many people. I established this. I brought this to the market. I did this, and I deserve. I feel like that is a sign of establishment for establishment for me, right? There's a value to it. Somebody buys themselves a hand-carved, engraved steak board. Hey, Pony, how are you? Welcome, welcome. Good to see you. Somebody buys themselves a hand-carved, engraved steak board. It's not because they just want to eat a piece of steak, because they could eat that on a plate. But there's so much more value to that board than the actual price paid for. Somebody says, I want to lose weight. And you're thinking in the back of your head that, well, maybe my products are too expensive. And the person says, I don't care. My doctor said, I got to lose weight. So it becomes more of a value. The value for my health, for my longevity, for my life is way more than blank, right? Or the value of achieving this is so much more than, you see some of these guys that win Oscars. They win awards, right? They're grabbing a hold of that thing like what? Like it's a symbol of achievement. It's not just something you put on a mantle. It's a symbol of achievement. It's got value to it. You can't attach a price tag to what has meaning behind it. So when you are taking a look at anything, like a piece of shirt, right? You're buying a shirt, you're looking at the price tag, and then you also automatically, maybe subconsciously or consciously, look at the value. You do. That's why you tell yourself it's what? Worth it. And I purchase it. Or, no, it's not worth it. I'm not paying that for that. Right? So it becomes this thing between a price and the value. And sometimes, look, you can have 4 possibilities, but sometimes you can have your mind fogged because of price and actually missing the value. That's where it could get really tricky, where you lose sight of the value because you're focusing so much on the price. Winning an Oscar, holding on to that in front of millions of people, hundreds of thousands of people, there's a value to that Oscar. But then there's also a price that was paid to get to that point where you're standing there in front of hundreds of thousands of people holding an Oscar and giving your thank you speech. There's a price that you paid for that value, for that moment. And that's real significant, because a lot of times, so many of us let price block our view of what's really important, and that's value. Sometimes we, in our business, in our professions, whatever it is you're doing. It doesn't have to be direct sales or network marketing. It doesn't have to be that. You could be selling broccoli. You know, a lot of times we lead with the price. This is cheap or this is expensive. Automatically, we're just like lessening the value of our products and services automatically by just using that language. So I'm asking you to be careful what you say, right? I'm asking you to pay attention to those things. I'm asking you to not let price get in the way of you actually seeing the value. I'm asking you to be able to distinguish the two, to be able to separate the two and look at them separately because they are two different things. Look, there's people that pay ridiculous price for things that you and I would never pay for. But when you ask them why, they're like, because I wanted to. And you're like, what? That's not a reason. That's correct. There's value in that. Don't let price get in your way of seeing what's important. Value. I hope you got some love, some inspiration, some value from this live. Let's see, we ourselves are sell ourselves short of the time because we don't see. That's, yeah, absolutely. We don't see our own value. Absolutely. That's so true. That is very, very true. Hopefully, you guys got some love, some inspiration, some value from this. I appreciate you guys. Drop your thoughts, your comments, your feedback below. Hey, I'm still hurting from my toes hitting all this. If you know what I'm talking about, maybe you should go check out my reel that I did last night, hitting my toe like everywhere. I don't know. I'm still hurting. So, anyway, if you feel like this was worthy of sharing, do what you got to do. Spread the love. Tag a couple people, share it on your wall. Do what you got to do. And I am Sean Azimi with SideGigSean.com, signing off until tomorrow when we do it all over again. Much love.